Greetings. Hello. Hi, everyone. And a Venusian magical salute to you. And the sign of return. And that's what naturally we begin wishing for each person. This, what? I'm almost at a loss of words. What do you say for this world where we just watch, um, you know, you think about who are these pilots that are dropping these bombs on children's schools? These are your neighbors. These are the people all around you mixing energies with you through tax dollars. Yeah, money is energy. They collect yours, mix yours with people who are more than happy to press the button on a bomb to kill children. And Maria, who is here, said, "Go ahead," and you can, you can hear the echo of some uh, stoic frat boy, masculine, what they call, saying, "What do you care? Why do you care about Iranians? These Muslims hate the West." That's how they talk. No, they think they're sophisticated. The West, the West. And that's our first reading is going to come denouncing that. I'm so sick of it. It makes me want to throw up. The thought of this culture, like, in my opinion, like, this sucks more than insincere Muslims that want to use a religious doctrine to. I just don't really feel or see a bad intention. It's more of that religious, we're saving you from the world kind of shit with the Muslims. A good intention, I don't. And what I personally see on the Christian West, I see a whole lot of people like our sister Joe out there in Germany. A whole lot of people with no identity, no cause, no, like, exactly me. And I'm barely coming out of that phase. Really, you know, you can take it for what it's worth, but unconsciously, in the most supernatural opportunity, at least I believed, to learn something, all I wanted to know was, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I had lost my identity as an individual person. I mean, as I told Maria when she told me, "You don't know how to think, you're putting your opinion before the facts." I told her I defended myself by saying, I'm trying, and she said, "I know you're trying. That's why I came to help you, because you're not conscious of what you're doing, Joe. I can't explain, really, to people how my mind was set, that I had some connection to universal truth and power, God, and the unexplainable revelation that he, love how they call God he all the time, right? Does not exist as far as we know. Like Maria said, just individual to individual. I've never had any experiences where something universal addressed me. The only universal was myself and the true self of others. And how a whole other world was going on. And the observer effect was unexplainable when the observer is your true self. I cannot personally explain to you now the experience I had of literally, standing in this like giant valley of crosses, just like you would imagine Jesus hanging on. And me trying to ascertain from this invisible man what it meant, like the stress of like, what does this mean? Like, I know this is the most important thing ever. And truly, the who was me, the invisible energy man, was like entertained, like amused by my seriousness. And I could just see in his face, like, settle down, like, it's okay, like, it's just an experience. It will all be over in a flash and it will just be gone as a blip in time. I mean, that's how he was looking at me, like laughing, like, child, settle down. You're so stressed and so misguided. Your energy is misguided. And in particular, he was trying to reveal to me that the bad vibe energy from this world, it was making me sick, making me want to disengage from my body and live somewhere else. And I'll give you an example. I never knew this, but when very traumatic things happen to us, we just are like essence of the avatar. What we feel is truly us just jumps up and runs away. I was working. My wife, I believe she texted me, or I don't know, maybe it's blurry because it's such a traumatic event. She either texted me or called me and told me that one of our cats was killed by a car, hit by a car and killed. And like in a millisecond, I later figured it's almost unexplainable. But I later in the ritual seen how the moment she told me, it was like I just dropped everything and I ran to the tree in my backyard. This is this is like right as I was started doing the ritual, and I felt so strange until I did my next ritual, where Maria was like, "It's okay. This is what happens. We're able to do this on an unconscious level, and you believe in death emotionally. So it's just natural, Joe, that you would just run away from what doesn't feel good." And I was like, damn, that's what happened when, you know, my best friend killed himself. I really didn't feel present. I felt like I was the observer. And again, we're talking about what the effect and result is when you consciously know you're being observed by yourself. And I'm not, it's a thing that each individual person has. What we're doing is just trying to say, like, reality is this way, not that way. That way you were born into. And that's why we're going to read tonight from Miguel Serrano's book. Because listen, how do you get to Amor? How do you get to Venus? I don't know if you can read that. Neither by land or sea, right? And our prayer tonight, in the name of Maria, Lucifer, Donna, the Trinity, our Trinity. And we have the ultimate avatar, Adolf Hitler, and the last avatar, the last avatar, the last avatar, Miguel Serrano, for us. This is I believe, the original introduction, or maybe I'm not sure. Let me give you it. Okay, this is Miguel Serrano, Santiago de Chile, May 1974. Introduction. It has been said that South Americans, especially Chileans, belong to Western culture, Western civilization, but I have never really thought so. Could I rephrase that for us? It has been said of Europeans, it has been said of North Americans, it has been said of everyone in the West that we belong to Western civilization. This is the meme that, their truth. It really is a meme. Okay. I have really never, I have never really thought so, that we belong to Western civilization. Only in the idea of a personal, individualized love are we alike the fundamental myth of that culture. Okay? Do you hear what he's saying? The only thing, the only idea that I got growing up in the West was individualism, an individuated love, an eternal true love that makes us an individual. Okay, back to the text. The mistake of thinking ourselves to be Westerners comes from a rationalist view of life. You hear that? Contrasted with magical view of life. I know that's easy to say, but let's just speak the words first, right? It's so important. Let me read it again. The mistake of thinking ourselves to be Westerners comes from a rationalist view of life, which asserts that equality of man in this world, even though man is different everywhere. Right? This rationalist view of life asserts the equality of man, his abilities, you know. This is the blurred lines of equality. Oh, you don't mean we're equal, you mean we're all the same clones of your Christian brainwashing. And it is, back to the text, and it is especially true in those already closed cycles of cultures, okay, and civilizations which took place in historical times, right? We already see the earth is a living creature, and we are its fruit. Thus, it does matter if we're born and live in the South rather than in the North or in the center of the world. The essence of the earth has various conditions. This is like the mind body connection. Where you're born on the earth has like a magnetic frequency and it changes you. Not your essence, but your avatar. Then, and that's all that matters because you're only conscious as the avatar right now. Like I said, I was talking to myself. Myself was amused with me, and I did not know for sure till later that it was me. Matter of fact, I thought it was the mushroom, like personified. And I can hear Maria saying, but Joe, it was. Because it can be more than one thing. We can be more than one thing. Like, I didn't get it that I was switching. I didn't see the practicality in that when I asked to be taught how to heal someone, I was shown it's an automatic unconscious thing. You just got to become conscious of it. It's called switching bodies in the most practical terms. Like this person will be healed, Joseph, if you help them out of their body and bring some new life, some fresh energy, right? These were new things to me, like completely new. Back to the text. Then there is the matter of thought, right? We got where you were born, the magnetic, it's for a reason. It's back to our rune. Don't reject your destiny, give it a meaning. And I know it's easier said than done. But we're doing it. You and I are doing it right now. Then there is the matter of thought. Not all men think with the same organ, right? With this Western rationalist view. Elsewhere in my writings, I have related a conversation with Professor Carl Jung in which the doctor told me of a visit he received from a chief of the Pueblo Indians. The chief said that he believed white men were crazy because they claimed to think with their heads. Only a madman would think in this way, so believed the chief. He thought with his heart, like the ancient Greeks did. The Japanese think with the solar plexus, where they do harakiri, to leave the door open to thought. Hindus will use something outside their body because thoughts happen to them, so to speak. The Spanish think with the word, which is in the throat, Vishuddha chakra, as the Hindu might say, the throat chakra. So then, how do South Americans think? Chileans think, you know, Europeans think, Americans think. I wanted to know this, same thing. And I didn't even really know how to express it this way, but this is, like he said, you become an individual and you're like, hold on, I'm not that Western. Oh, we're supposed to give thanks that you slaughtered and murdered and genocided. We're watching you do this to the Palestinians. And it's a deja vu because you did it to our ancestors in the name of progress and industry and all that bullshit. You know, since my youth, I have been concerned with this fundamental issue of our identity. How to define it. I believed that finding it would mean achieving a connection with our landscape, with that living place of the body of the earth to which we belong, and being capable of transfiguring it, reaching that part of the situation that by right belongs to us. Do you hear that? It's so important. Like you feel a connection. Like I know my generation. There's a meta meaning to my generation. It's right here. This is how at least I couldn't express it, but it was unconsciously. I believed that finding it, our identity, were not these Western Christian robots. Finding this real identity, I believed, would mean achieving a connection with the land, with the living place of the body of the earth to which we belong, and being capable of transfiguring it. That we could, if we could connect with the land, we could transfigure it, reaching that part of the situation that by right belongs to us because it's our generation, our time. That is to create our own civilization. Hear what he said? In defining the identity, connecting to the land, I knew we must create our own civilization. In those years, I did write a book, which I called The New Earth, and then I burned it. Travels or pilgrimages across the length and breadth of this earth in search of our identity have enhanced my belief that we are different. The accent of our personality is dependent upon another instance of the human being. You hear that? The accent, the trait of our personality is dependent upon another instance, another time of the human being. See, this was my ancestor revelation that I didn't even know who they were. And they're like, Joe, we're your ancestors. and we've been helping you the whole time. 3 men. And I'm going, you are my ancestors. I somehow do know you. And let me tell you, they weren't all white. 2 of them were Native American Indians. So, denounce me as a race traitor if you want, because you're that shallow. The accent of our personality is dependent upon another instance of the human being in general. The history of mankind consists in the change of accent on the instances. In the situation of another man in a certain area of land, the vibration, and in the restructuring and transfiguring of the world in an equal way. Man, took me 14 years to understand what he meant. Literally, there are people connected to the land and their vibration is strong. And either you're going to have to connect and transfigure it and restructure it in an equal way. The energy has to be equal. You know what I mean? Especially if there's people opposed to what you're doing. Back to the text real quick. And so the world changes, right? Or is destroyed. In the present instance of history, a different man has already appeared, ruled by another instance, by another center of consciousness, by another chakra. And the complete destruction of the civilization of the man who thinks with his head is just a matter of time. A magical type of man has appeared. The rationalist man will disappear. It is the real revolution, the true change. The new generation will think with a golden center of consciousness and know each other without words. This work, which is something like an epic of the search and transfiguration, is about getting to the bottom of the South, to resurrect the South's myths and its gods. And you got to think of this in your own land. Or even the soul of the earth. There is a lot of symbolism in this pilgrimage, in its attempt at a rapport between the soul of a man and that of his land. Even though you walk on the outside, it is as if you walked already on the inside. And the search for an oasis among the ice, for a mythical city in the Andes, or for a secret monastery on the other side of the world is, in truth, the search for the center of peace within your own heart, which is to say, he tries to go beyond a single vision of thought to realize the total man, the Hegel rune, with all his conditions in function, with all his thinking centers in activity, the total man, the race of the Titans, the great possibility that we dreamed of for this country in the Andes, the total transfiguration of the landscape of the earth, the land, helping the living being earth to transform at this critical vertex of its involution. Only through us can the earth be saved, even in the matrix, spiritualized and transfigured? Otherwise, catastrophe, thelemic nuclear war is sure to ensue. Okay. The requirement to find the roots of a myth and legends, right? Right? Otherwise, catastrophe is sure to ensue if we don't spiritualize the very land we live on. The requirement to find the roots of myths and legends, methods that we have an attempt to understand the land, scattered in the south of the world, led me to try one day to cross the Pacific Ocean. I landed in India. I lived there for almost 10 years in constant search. It is the theme of this trilogy. Eventually, I returned from India confident that we were also not Oriental. We are somewhere in the middle between the East and West in another realm, Venus. However, the soul of the Chilean for so many centuries had turned towards the West that now turning to the East might be a means of finding balance. Easier to find our own identity, right? Balance is happiness. Balance is the key to everything truly learned, right? After all these years of searching and struggle, I have come to understand that it doesn't matter where I am. I needed distance so not to compromise the feeling, not to get too deeply distracted, to be able to look and see clearly. Dramatic work with my own land had been attempted. Now the journey is inside, for it does not matter how alone one is, nor how remote and far away, because if the right work is done, unknown friends will come to your aid. As the alchemist said, if you think the right thoughts, even if you're alone, sitting in your room, you will be heard from thousands of miles away. Acknowledged Chinese wisdom from ancient times. If you face the angel correctly, it will have universal legitimacy. If you have found the ancient refuge of the archetypes of the south of the world or in your own land, you no longer need to be here. The discovery will serve for those who have come after you because you will have helped them irreparably. So, this work is for those who one day will look for the oasis among the ice of the South Pole, the city of the Caesars in the sacred Andes, for those who, crossing the great ocean to seek the eternal city in the Himalayas, Shambhala Agartha, or perhaps those who find themselves at the bottom of the waters, with the secret traces that link the worlds. The secret traces that link the worlds, right? We'll be right back with the rune. Tonight's rune, Sieg. Okay, tonight's rune, Sieg, the famous Sieg rune, and our famous sister, who is our Sieg rune, literally. And Sieg and Tyr are so closely related. And you'll recognize this from last night. In polar Hyperborea, to which we refer, the inhabitants are still divine. The fifth born woman in a Hyperborean family. Okay, let me just say, in Hyperborea, to which we refer, the inhabitants are still divine. That's the giants, the polar Hyperborea. Think of it as a whole human race like us that existed and extincted themselves. They are still divine in this history. They had you have to realize when the traditions come from us, from the land, from us, up through our souls, of our feet to our mind, you have to remember um, that this was this is like a thing completely blocked from our Western minds. Like we don't know. We have to remember that there's a whole entire human race history that has been completely blacked out from us, redacted from us, um, because it would answer all the questions of the Bible, God, and all that. The gods in general are the giants, the spiritual teachers from this previous human race. And it on Venus is a very present, everyday thing to talk about this history. This is the history that is so important. This is the history of the first great war that ended human beings repeating in World War II, and in the repeating matrix of the time after the end of the world, it keeps repeating over and over and again because a leopard can't change his spots. The people in control, and why would they make it obvious to you that it would be less amusing to them. They believe that the magic is the manifestation of control over your mind and that you have no real idea of exactly who's behind us. When, I mean, there's the perception that nobody knows, right? When the people doing this say they believe in the book of Revelation says there's a beast. The people in Hollywood, the mainstream media, the anti-Christian movement, and this doesn't validate Christianity. Do you understand that's the trick? The false polarity of, yeah, these evil Satanists prove that Christianity is true, right? When it has failed every single test of morality, justice, and what is just right, every single point, right? Right down to Jesus forgiving people on the cross without ever consulting the victims. He don't give a fuck about the victims. He's just like, if you believe in me, you're forgiven. Fuck the victims. You're coming to paradise. They can rot in hell. That's a trick on purpose to get you to identify with a thief. Okay, maybe you stole something as a child or even as an adult or whatever. That doesn't make you eternally bad. There's a million variables with each single individual person. That's why no standardized medicine in any way, shape, or form can possibly be true. Because its premise is that you're a simple machine when you're actually a magical being operating the machine. The fifth born woman in a Hyperborean family preserves the quality of vril, which is also air. She has the organ of communication with simultaneous worlds, with the holy men, the Siddhas, of whom the Hyperboreans are the representatives. They're advanced ones on earth. We've spoke about these people. They don't want to be physical. They live in their own worlds with their own families, you might say, forever without ever mixing physically with people. And rarely will they, like Maria, she's here right now. It's strictly invitation only. And you would never find your way to these people. Never in a million years. It's literally a maze of plants and vibrations, crystals and memory and everything else. It's really quite beyond my, St. Louis, Missouri American mind, but she knew it'd take a while for me to understand, and that's why she always told me it would take a while. Right? Who is this woman? The fifth born, the magic one. It doesn't literally mean the fifth born, the magic woman who communicates with simultaneous worlds, of whom the Hyperboreans are representatives of their advanced ones who were on Earth at one time on Gerda. The woman teaches and practices the cult of magic amor that makes individualization possible. Right? She teaches and practices the cult of magic amor that makes individualization possible, which is the resurrection of absolute personality. Moreover, custodians of the Grail, this carbuncle incarnated on Earth together with those same Hyperboreans, on which the rune wisdom of immortality was inscribed. The history of the past race, of the origin of the primeval world, the nuptial fatherland, right? They're the custodians of this rune wisdom of the nuptial fatherland. The Hyperboreans came from there, entering the circle of circles by a topological fold, by the window of Venus, or by a click of the mind. Without this remembrance, this memory, everything would be lost forever. There, in front of the Grail, listening to their own blood, their music, next to the fire, Hyperboreans carried out the rite of mini drinking. They symbolically drank each other's blood, preserving the memory of origin, to thus enliven the incredible adventure here undertaken in this exile in matter, in this war without quarter against the enemy who one knows closes in all around them. And because time accelerates in these regions, which will be dark and cold, the virgins of the Black Sun exhort the hero to their wedding, the magic marriage next to a fire. They are the wives of fire. Before joining their warrior, they have done so with the fire of Saturn. And this, perhaps remembering those faraway divine times in Aryan India when they entered the bonfire where the body of their dead husband was consumed. This rite was called sati or Saturno. Saturno. The origin of fire. The fire of origin. The Hyperborean virgins are the wives of Agni. Agni. In Vedic India, the wedding is held next to the fire of the Aryans. The maintenance of the sacred fire empowers the uninterrupted relation with the original body of light. The sacred fire empowers the uninterrupted relation with the original body of light before their imprisonment in matter with that spiritual energy, with the column or bolt, the Sieg rune, vril, literally vril. Have Reno, the true ancestor. So the fire must never burn out in a Hyperborean community, must always be kept by the king priest and by the woman Maga, the Valkyrie. You wonder where they get Maga? Magi. The woman Magi is a Maga. Let me read that again. So the fire must never be burnt out in a Hyperborean community, must always be kept by the king priest and the woman Maga, the Valkyrie. The fire must abide within and without. In the exterior, it is uniquely a symbol of what first was within and was the Hyperborean blood, the vapor, the pure, the puro, the fire in Sanskrit. Therefore, the Führer said his world was fire and thought he could win, even when lacking appropriate clothing to withstand the icy winters of the steppe. Leon de Grelle told me during the combat on the Russian front, the German SS would rise in the middle of the night to light great bonfires, gathering around them in silence, transfigured. The Reich Chancellery was consumed in flames. And they also tell us, although it is not so, the bodies of the Führer and his wife were cremated. This is included as well in the great Hyperborean myth. Form dissolves into earth to recover again beyond. In the light of Sieg, the lightning bolt of the original green thunderbolt, and it is heil, healing, triumph, resurrection. Sieg. What does Sieg mean? Class. The famous rune Sieg means the creative spirit will win. The created spirit will win. I've told Maria before, you should have got someone that doesn't stutter. Sorry. We have said Andes is anti, onto, sun, and also anda, man, sun man. Andes means sun man. The ancient sun and man, the black sun, the Divya, the Siddha. Giants are immersed in the mountains, in matter, rock, along with the coming of the new sun, the disappearance of the the ancient sun, the light of Vril, spiritual bolt, with their darkening and the materialization of that star, Gerda, and what is imprisoned in the mountain is engraved in the man rune, the your rune. Thus I saw the giants, one to the right, extending his arms upwards, the other to the left, inclining his arms downward. Life and death within the earth of the demiurge, the form of Divya, the original man given by the rune imprinted here, now in the mineral as a perhaps unattainable aspiration, and playing out in scores, tests, and copies of the demiurge completely failed, like the monkey, like the Neanderthal man. And the body with 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, 5 fingers is only a machine, the reproduction of an archetype copied by the demiurge Jehovah and projected by his breathing in this recurrent universe to work with this machine in this dense world. This evil plagiarist does not need to lower. This golem suffices with Neanderthal man and his slow, impossible evolution and involution through aeons of time and tremendous disasters. He uses it. He who uses it, is in no hurry. That's why things take forever to change. In truth, he is playing, dancing within the Maya illusion. But here's something huge happens. Outside the dream of this devilish player, someone has entered into the circle of circles by some door or fold, perhaps by a narrow window. The gate or window of Venus, or rather by a click of the mind, a defeat, or a hero coming from a completely distinct universe, carrying with him the original Hyperborean divine form, which the demiurge would corrupt, and carrying the power of the runes, come down from another world, giving another appearance and direction to the entire process of the mechanical repetition. even to the redemption of matter, transfiguring it, making a mutation reaching to the central nucleus of the tectonic fire. He thereby enters into total war with Jehovah, with his eternal return and all his archetypes. It has been said, therefore, the hero, Lucifer, Lucibel, has entered this world, falling downward, head or crown of the comet Venus into the North Pole. And Sieg healing Sieg Rune to you right now, our brothers and sisters, and we'll be right back with Mama Maria bless you.
Mama's hands hold the stories of the past, whispered tales of journeys, shadows they cast. Daddy's voice echoes through the quiet night. Don't forget your roots, girl, keep them in sight. In every tear that falls, I feel them near. Roots run deep where my heart finds home. In the swell of the blues, I don't on the road. Through the struggles and the pain, I still stand proud. With every strum of the guitar, I'll sing out loud. Spent my days wandering through the willow trees, searching for a wisdom carried by the breeze. Memories wrapped in every noble tune, guiding me gently like a glowing moon. On a road, who came before, don't lose your way. Roots run deep where my heart finds home. In the swell of the blues, I don't on the road. Through the struggles and the pain, I still stand proud. With every strum of the guitar, I'll sing out loud. Remembering love that will never fade. In the rhythm of my soul, their legacies laid.